First, firstly, I'd like to welcome our new commissioner, Sonia Holguin. She's from District
2, District 2.
Good evening.
Thank you. Okay, let's go do the Pledge of Allegiance. And we'll go ahead and have Ms. Holguin start us off for the first time, since she's a new member. So could you please stand?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Takayama.
Present.
Commissioner Olguin. Present. Commissioner Hernandez. Present. Vice Chair Knox.
Present.
Chair Baez.
Present.
Chair, we have a quorum.
Okay. Do we have any corrections to the agenda?
Chair, we have no corrections to the agenda.
Okay, let's go ahead and move. We have a presentation today given by, yes.
Thank you, Chair, Commissioners, members of the audience, and city staff. This presentation was based on a request by several questions by our commissioners. So I wanted to give you an update specifically on the Olympic Boulevard street feasibility study. The focus of the study is the whole entire corridor from the east city limits all the way to 4th Street and Olympic where it dead ends. Just giving you an update on the collision analysis. So between January of 2020 and December of 2024, there were 65 collisions on Olympic. This heat collision map actually demonstrates to you the different collisions that have occurred depending on the intensity. And you can see in the areas that are bright red, that those are more extreme in comparison to the yellow ones. So these are proposed enhancements that we have throughout the corridor. So we take each intersection, we analyze each intersection, and we're looking to install bulb outs, which are the extension of the curb ramps, which make it shorten the distance between traveling from one end to one end crossing the street. It also adds highlighted crosswalks in order for us to, the motorists could easily look at the striping. So when crossing the street, they're able to see if there's pedestrians. Next slide, please. So the average daily traffic counts within the corridor are between 15,300 and 6,000 at peak. So there's a lot of vehicles that go through Olympic. There's a lot of commercial, industrial traffic as well. There are several key concerns, and the design engineer discussed with us as part of their analysis. And there's a lot of speeding collisions at certain intersections that have brought to us from not just commissioners, but the community at large, looking to see how we could safely enhance certain intersections. There's also a combination of both bike and pedestrian fatalities in certain areas, as well as collisions that just take place between two vehicles or more. So specifically looking at Kensington and Olympic, there's no collisions, and so what we're looking to do there is enhance the intersection with striping and increase visibility through the bulb outs. On the north-south side drive and Olympic Boulevard, we're also looking to install high-visibility crosswalks. But we're also looking at potential left turn restrictions in order to minimize collisions. Extending the medians in certain areas will also make it safer for pedestrians to cross. At Austin and Olympic, we're looking at also doing curb extensions and increasing the striping by adding high visibility, making that enhancement in order for us to ensure that when pedestrians are crossing, the location from curb to curb is not as long as it is existing right now. At 18th Street and Olympic Boulevard, we're looking to also include high visibility crosswalk, redo the ADA ramps, and then tighten some of those curbs. So as pedestrians are walking and motorists are driving through there, they're able to make a sharper turn. So it slows down motorists from taking that long radius turn, which then sends them off to the next existing southbound traffic, for example, or northbound, depending on where you're going. At Vail and Olympic, again, we're looking at high visibility crosswalks. We're looking to increase the radius at one of the curbs on the northwest corner. At Maple and Olympic Boulevard, again, we're also doing high visibility crosswalks, looking to increase the curbs in order to minimize the length of time to cross the street. At Park Avenue and Olympic, we're also looking to add high visibility crosswalks and do curb extensions. At Taylor and Olympic, we're also doing the same, trying to increase high visibility, trying to increase the curb so that it's easier for pedestrians to cross. At Greenwood and Olympic, we're looking for bike turning boxes, remounting signal heads, trying to enhance that signalized intersection there. Part of the grade suppression project is already focused on that intersection. And also the LA County Department of Public Works came in and upgraded the controller there in order to increase and maximize the time allotted for pedestrians to cross. At 10th and Olympic, we're looking to enhance that area with ADA ramps. We're looking to restripe the area as well. On Spruce and Olympic, we're looking to do high visibility crosswalk and remove and replace the ramps to comply with ADA compliance. At Cedar and Olympic, we're looking for high visibility crosswalks, ADA curb ramps, and in order to also add in an advanced stop bar. At 7th and Olympic, we're also looking to do the same thing with the high visibility crosswalk and enhance the ADA curb ramps. At 6th Street and Olympic, we're also looking at high visibility crosswalks and the addition of ADA compliant ramps. At 5th Street and Olympic, we're also looking for high visibility crosswalks, ADA enhancements, and increase in stop sign visibility. With that, that concludes our questions. The design engineer will also bring this kind of format to small pop-ups that are going to take place in the downtown area, so that the residents can take a look at them and then comment before they actually bring this in front of City Council. So right now, this is just a draft, and they're looking to get comments from our community.
I just have a comment. I know Olympic Boulevard is very long, and I appreciate this study, and it's a long time coming, and very happy with it. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
I have a, how will residents be made aware that they're able to provide feedback?
Oh, that's a good question. So I mentioned the pop-ups at local events. They're working with one of our assistant engineers to work with our Parks and Recreation Department as well. So they have a list of all the events that will take place from now until next year. So they'll be participating in those events. And just, having them on large boards so that they could show the community and see what they think about some of the enhancements. And then we'll also, once we get closer to having a more refined draft, then we'll be working with our Parks and Rec Department to put this on social media so that the residents have an opportunity to comment on them.
Thank you.
Do you have an estimate as to how much this is going to cost, and do we have the budget for it?
Yes, so this feasibility study was paid for by SB1 fiscal year 23-24 budget. And so the funding does not come from general fund, it's coming from state funds.
I have one. Okay, so this starts all the way down to Fifth Street, or you're gonna stop at Fourth Street where you have that, the end of Olympic where Fourth Street is?
Yeah, so the feasibility study focuses on the entire length. There's also other features, complete street features like landscaping, paving the roadway, certain striping that's taking place. But as of right now, there's the group that's focused on presenting this to the community and getting input and performing outreach. They're gonna plus or minus demonstrate what I just showed you. But yes, to answer your question, it's taking care of the whole entire corridor.
Any more comments?
Were there any other locations that were considered besides Olympic?
That's a good question. So this kind of predates me. But in fiscal year 23-24, the city council elected to fund this study.
I just have one more question. With the crosswalks, are we going to try to fix some of the roads because some of them have the cracks in them as well?
Yes, we will be working on also paving the roadway.
All right, thank you.
So they're gonna pave all Olympic, repave it?
Yes, sir. I know that there's certain sections that are concrete. I have not seen plans yet, but that's part of the feasibility study, and then also the development of plans and specifications. But they won't work on those until they get community input and city council and staff buy-in with conceptually what they're trying to do striping wise.
Anyone else?
I just like to make a comment that I think it's a very aggressive in a positive way plan. And I think it's gonna help a lot the community in be safer. So I think it's a very good plan moving forward.
Good. Anything else?
That's it?
Thank you, Cesar. Excellent work. Appreciate it.
Okay, we're gonna go into public comments.
Chair, we have 4 public comment speakers today. The first speaker is going to be Jerry Guzman.
Chairman and members of the commission, congratulations, by the way, by being appointed.
Thank you.
I'm here to comment on behalf, wait there, I figured my voice carried. He knows me well.
I'm here to speak on behalf of a resident and a neighbor, as well as an uncle, Francisco Guerrero. I believe that he applied for, I have the proof here, a blue curb, handicapped designation in front of his home. And I believe that the city engineer is recommending against it. And I wanted to speak to the reasons that it might have been recommended not to allow him to get one. Exactly across the street where a previous family member also lived, there is a blue handicap place, which I was informed by the chairman will be removed. And they actually recognized it and called to the city when she passed on and asked that it told the city it was no longer necessary. And since then, my aunt, Mrs. Guerrero, Francisco's wife, has been diagnosed with dementia and severe Alzheimer's. And while they do have a driveway that they don't have anything blocking, their son does live with them, and they also have Francisco's car. So if someone, like a family member like myself, goes to pick her up, there's really nowhere other than blocking the sidewalk that we have to park and pick her up. There's oftentimes that she isn't exactly, if anyone's ever had a family member with Alzheimer's or dementia, agreeable to leave, or she's resistant. And so sometimes it takes something that's right next to the house so that two of us can help get her in the car to her doctor's appointment. And as such, these are residents that have been here over 50 years, not to mention other family members haven't lived here, and they have never requested any special designation or accommodation of the city. And so I would really like to see, under these circumstances, I often go to help them with her, do her hair, or maybe spend time with her when their family members need a break. And so I really would like to, myself as a longtime resident, lifelong resident actually, they have, like many of the residents of 50 years, attended schools here, gone to church here, and of course, enjoyed living here in Montebello. So I respectfully would like to ask, these are probably issues that I'm sure the city engineer does not have time to take into consideration with his recommendation, but I certainly wanted to speak to them this evening. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy. He's here with me, my Theo Francisco. So if that's all.
Yeah, no, without knowing the details, we can follow up and once we have more information and we look into this application.
Sure, and if there's anything else, I've included my number on my speaker card, and please feel free. I'm very familiar with their situation and their need for the blue curb. Thank you very much.
We'll contact you. Thank you.
I do apologize. So she was referencing item number 7 on the agenda today. Yes. Okay. Yes, I do apologize about that. Moving on to the second speaker, we have Cindy Mercado. Cindy will be talking about item number 5 on the agenda today.
She filled out the card, but I wanted to give a little intro on what this is about. She's my sister. We're the owners of the property that we put in the application for the red curb. I wanted to start out by thanking for the time to consider our application. My family has been a member of this community since 1963. My parents bought their first property up here in Brighton Hills. Born and raised here, educated here. Fast forward, 8 years ago, we bought this property around the corner from here on 18th Street. And we noticed it's the block right before Olympic Boulevard. In fact, they were just covering it on the little presentation. And right between Montebello High School and Olympic is where the house is located. And after purchasing the house, we noticed that parking was a commodity. There's all single-family residents there, and there's multiple families living in these homes. So parking is a huge commodity. We started having problems with the trash cans. Cars were pushing, because Cindy is a resident. She lives there with her husband, Joe. And my husband and I own the property. And she started telling us the cars of the neighbors are moving our trash cans, they're damaging them. This escalated into confrontations with the neighbors. One of the neighbors came and assaulted Cindy verbally. We had an issue with my brother, who also lives at the house. He's handicapped. He had a neuroaneurysm about 3 years ago. And when the access van comes, it doesn't have any room to park, so it has to park in the street and, block the traffic. And it's a pretty big thoroughfare for a lot of traffic. We finally put in this application to get the red curb on both sides of the driveway. And interestingly, you painted it. And all these problems were resolved. And the original attending officer who came out to the property, I think he may have taken offense to the fact that it went through, got painted without him. Anyway, somehow the red paint magically disappeared, and we're back to square one. So some of the original issues as to why we even put in the red curb application are now back into play. So Cindy has a little bit more specifics with regards.
If some of you got some of these handouts, there's a picture on the first page where they came out and they painted the red curb. And I'm not kidding you, the red curb was maybe 30 inches, and then there was this much red curb on the other side. And the access van that came to pick up our handicapped brother would park right there. He could parallel park instead of in the middle of the street because he would come out with his wheelchair. Then this officer came by. He was a traffic enforcement and said, did you paint those red curves? No, we thought our application went through. So then next thing you know, if you look at the bottom of the page, one day I came home and the curves are all painted gray. They took them away. So in the meantime, now at least those red curves would satisfy for us to put our trash cans out there, because cars were coming with all the dwellers and all the cars of people that live there. They would park and almost block the driveway. So we had no place to put our trash cans. So people would get their car.
Yeah, I'm sorry, your 3 minutes are up. We gave you at least an extra minute or so. Your 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes total.
Okay,
thank you. We have it, and then we'll review it when we get to the item. Thank you.
Sorry.
Of course.
I'll rush on. Anyways, so consequently,
Okay.
okay. No, I lost my train of thought. No. So anyways, they came and they painted them gray, and they were getting our trash cans and moving them with their car. On the second page, they damaged our trash cans. Athens Company told us to leave those damaged trash cans out there for one whole week. Then they came and they were yelling at us to...
ma'am. Thank you, though. We appreciate your comments. Your time is up. Thank you, though.
All right. So anyways, everything is detailed on the pages I submitted.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Do you tell us right now, or do?
No, we don't. We have to go to our information here, go through it, and the engineer.
Okay.
With their valve.
Are we done here? Do we leave?
No, you can stay if you like.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But you're not going to address
No,
our
we're not
case
gonna address
again
it
for
today.
this evening?
Okay.
We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
Right.
Our next speaker is Connie Bukalo. I believe she took off. We have next speaker, Henry Thompson.
The other speaker was the Connie Sosano or Bocado. That wasn't you. Yeah. Hi, my name is Henry Thompson. I'm a resident of Vallejo. I live on Caulfield Avenue. I'm a business owner. And for the last year and a half, I've been trying to do business with the City of Montebello. I have filled out the online forms. I have called the mayor. I have called Park and Recs, and I have reached out to them several times. I have gotten no response. So I'm just want to know what I need. I do photography, video. I'm a drone operator. So I didn't have. I'm registered with the city of LA School District, Metro City, with them about any problems. I get feedback from them, but for the last 2 years now, I haven't got any feedback or anything acknowledging that I'm registered with the city of Montebello. So I want to know who I need to talk to directly to make sure that I'm a vendor registered with the city of Montebello.
Thank you for your comment. We'll have your information. We'll look into it and have somebody contact you, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Connie, would you like to address? Okay.
Hello, this is my first time doing something like this, so forgive me if I don't address you properly. I am so happy to hear that Olympic Boulevard is going to be addressed. I am glad for that. I've been living here in Montebello for 36 years. My concern is Garfield. I live on Garfield, and there's also issues with the traffic there, and I was wondering when you will do a survey or if a survey has been done, because there's been a lot of accidents in that area, especially for that little area between Madison and Hay. And there's been a couple of fatalities, and just one happened about a month ago. And so I just wanted to address that. And one of the things that I've noticed, and I called too, about the Solar Street speed limit. It's not working, and nobody has addressed that. So I was wondering, there's two solar system speed limits there, one right there by the school and another one close to Pomona Boulevard by the church. So both of them are not working, and I think that might help somehow to slow the traffic. And maybe at one point, I know that Beverly Boulevard was 40 miles an hour, and now it went to 35. So it would be nice if maybe, Garfield would go down to 35. That might reduce, something less fatalities or traffic collisions, because there's been quite a few, especially in that area. And one of my sons was, unfortunately, his car was totaled there. So I just wanted to address that, and hopefully you bring it up in your meetings. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, we have no more public speakers at this time.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on with the meeting. We have the approval of the City Commission meeting of July 28th.
Recommendation for the new commissioner to recuse yourself or abstain, since she wasn't present for these meetings. So the other four members, if you want to consider this item.
I make a motion to approve it.
I second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Takayama, seconded by Vice Chair Knox. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Vice Chair Knox?
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Chair Baez?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to our regular meeting.
Yeah, Chair? Yeah, item number 4 is of regular business. The item for consideration is marked parallel T on Wilbur Place, Beverly Terrace, and Bradley Avenue and Beverly Boulevard. Give me a presentation. Director Roldan.
Thank you very much, Mr. City Manager, Chair, Council, Commissioners, and members of the audience. The recommendation today in front of the Traffic and Safety Commission is to approve the installation of marked parallel legal standard size parking tees on Wilbur Place, Beverly Terrace, and Bradley Avenue at Beverly Boulevard. per manual on uniform traffic code devices and traffic engineering handbook, latest edition. So a little bit of background. In May of 2024, we came in and presented an idea of enhancing the striping on Wilbur Place, Beverly Terrace, and Bradley Avenue. The goal here was to increase the number of marked legal parking spaces on those three streets. So with the direction from the city manager's office, direction from the commissioner, we in engineering devised a plan to make these enhancements. Part of the enhancements were to make those three streets into one-way streets in order to maximize the amount of space available to increase the parking spaces. After we finished the design was presented to the fire department, police department for their comments. The fire safety units, police department, they all commented on the plan, and after that, we went ahead and revised it. The goal was to present this to the community at an August 7th, 2025 meeting, but what ended up happening is we received a request by the residents in those three streets that they were not interested in having a meeting. Instead, they suggested that they wanted to provide us with alternatives. And three of the alternatives were to add parking tees, which we're going to just focus on today, and other items related to permit parking, and then also parking with regards to, for lack of better words, double parking on driveway approaches. So the focus of this is the marked parallel parking tees to better delineate parking spaces within the subject neighborhood. Both Beverly Boulevard and Beverly Terrace are 40-foot wide streets. That segment of Bradley Avenue is 38-foot street. So it causes a lot of issues. There's a lot of apartments in the area. So they continue to try to squeeze as many vehicles as possible in the non-legal sized areas. Looking at standard dimensions for on-street parallel parking spaces, they're typically 8 feet wide and they're 22 feet long per applicable engineering standards. As you can see in Exhibit 1, that's an example of a parking T there. Now, with regards to that, the guidelines do allow the city to determine the size accordingly. And so for the purposes of trying to maximize the amount of spaces in those three streets, we're looking for 18-foot compact parallel parking tees in lieu of the 20-foot parallel parking tees. Additionally, at some point in time, we would probably have to red tip some of the driveways just because they're undersized. A lot of the existing driveways are only 10 feet wide, where typically they would be closer to 16 feet in residential. As I went ahead and discussed this with the residents, with one of the residents that was the appointed individual that came and spoke to me about this, he requested the parking tees. Now, part of the concern that I have is when we do have legal or non-legal, non-conforming parking spaces, the request is not to have them painted red. The request is not to have them obviously marked with parking tees because they would not be conforming to our standards. And so they would like for us to go ahead and do our best to paint as much as we can and then leave the rest of them alone so that in case, there's smaller vehicles or somebody's on a motorcycle, they could park in those spaces. So that kind of concludes my report. So the recommendations in front of the Traffic and Safety Commission to approve the installation of standard size parallel parking tees on Wilbur Place, Beverly Terrace, and Bradley Avenue at Beverly Boulevard in compliance with applicable engineering standards. And I will answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
This was brought up a while back on Wilbur, right? Is this the same one that was brought up?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They want to park in diagonal.
Yeah, we wanted, the maximized design was to make them all one-way streets and then put diagonal parking. We actually also worked with Athens, who's the solid waste provider, the street sweeper, to get their comments and see if they had any issues. We were looking also to potentially, having Athens come in and move the trash cans for the residents, because they only have vehicles that only pick up with the right side with an arm. We don't have left-handed ones too for one-ways. So we're kind of trying to accommodate as much as possible the amount of spaces, and we were going to increase it at least from 10 to 12 legally. The existing, some of the spaces there, they're about 8 feet long that really don't technically accommodate a standard sized vehicle.
Right. Yeah, because I know that street's really is jammed because of all the apartments around there, and people have more than 3 cars there. I've seen, they're putting up on a driveway, they're sticking even out to the street because they're parking out behind each other. Is there any other resolution maybe that will help besides the T?
Well, I thought that our plan here was going to really help increase the amount of spaces legally, and it was probably going to be the safest way. So we spent between 6 and 8 months just looking at every possible outcome. What you just stated about parking, double parking, that's technically, if you read their request, that's the request number 3. Now, that's not an engineering solution, that's technically up to the city council if they kind of, want to look the other way, for lack of better words, because I don't know if the police department could come in and say, hey, that's a citation. I have only seen pictures of vehicles that are parked like back to back, but again, they're blocking the sidewalk, they're extending out into the street. Again, like I said, if we wanted a red curb, some of those areas, just with existing state law, we could do that. However, then we would just then minimize more parking spaces and make it that much more difficult. So it's what I tried to convey to the residents was that we did our best to come up with the best solution. However, I understand that if the community is not interested in making those streets into one-way, and they're not interested in the angled parking, then, that this is the best I can do, and just come in front of you, the commissioners, and, present their case. But at the same time, it's not, I think it's gonna diminish the number of spaces, because sometimes you could fit 3 small cars within an area, where if I go in and do parking tees, there might just be 2, marked spaces. So it's kind of a dilemma.
How accurate is the representation of the people who live there? How many homes are there, single residences as opposed to apartments? And yes, I saw that this gentleman said that you would actually be losing parking spaces. And it does look like most of the people who responded resounded an overwhelming no. They don't like that idea. Wouldn't perhaps suggesting permitted parking actually help the residents and also bring in some revenue?
Regarding the permitted parking, they were informed that they needed to kind of go through the right process and then submit in the application that's related to that, which was given to him on that day that he specifically came in and spoke to me. And with regards to any other idea, we, myself and our consultant engineering staff, we spent a long time trying to formulate the best plan, which is attachment A, I believe, to this. And so this was our best way to legally put in increasing parking spaces. But again, the residents stated no.
I have a question. On attachment B, there's 3 signatures here. Are these the people who have brought it to your attention?
Yes, the 3 individuals here, they're I guess they're the committee. And they represent the community in that area.
May I say something? I think the challenge that I see with that area is that you guys have very limited per se space to work with. And then you guys, sounds like you guys did your diligent work on doing the study to try to come up with providing with more spaces. The problem that I see is that before you guys got to present the plan, is that correct? You guys got the letter saying that they were rejecting what you guys were going to propose at the meeting that you guys were gonna have with the residents to inform them of what was the plan.
That is accurate, yeah. So we never, so both the chiefs of fire and the fire and police were going to join me, along with our engineering staff, the city manager and other staff at this community to allow them to kind of present their concerns or their quandaries. And so it didn't allow us to rightfully try to sell what we were trying to do. Like, at the end of the day, we were looking to enhance this community and not hinder its progress, traffic-wise. That's how I saw it. So the engineers that helped me on this, they're engineers that have a lot of experience working over 50 years in traffic. And so I trust their judgment, and I also trust the leadership of the city manager to allow me to do this in the hope that we would, better the community. So to give credit to the city manager, he did mention, doing this at the beginning, doing parking tees, which I said we could do that. However, I think that it's gonna reduce the parking spaces. I just can't I can't do a parking tee that's less than 18 feet. Because imagine if you have spaces for 3 vehicles, if you're stuck in the middle, you won't be able to get out, right? You're gonna get stuck, it'll be very difficult. Right now, they could kind of park how they wish. There's no real indication of, how many vehicles could actually park between 2 driveway approaches. Again, I wish I would have had the opportunity to present this to the community. However, we never got that chance.
If I may, for context, so if you look on attachment A, the design, so and for the residents and commissioners who are familiar with the street, this is a very unique street. On one street, it's residences. On the other side, it's apartments. And if you actually drive it out there, this is probably a case study on poorly designed sidewalks, driveways, garages. You name it, it's a bunch of issues. There's issues that were there before and we can't address at this point. And so I do want to thank Caesar. This, what you see here, this design is many, many months of work of Caesar, his staff, trying to come up with a solution that might help that community. So as a city, we have a responsibility. People come forward with problems and we try to come up with the best solutions possible. So if you actually look at the engineering design on attachment A that Caesar and his staff have put together, it's a change for sure. It would have actually changed the street into a one-way. So coming, going east. Yeah, going east on Beverly, you would turn in and basically only be able to loop out in one direction, which is what he mentioned, the Athens situation where their carts only pick up on one side. So it would have created a combination of diagonal parkings on one street. And then on the other side, it would have actually been middle parkings, which you see, I think, in downtown LA now they're doing. And I know on the East Coast, it's pretty normal. So in that, we would have had a lot of coordination, which is fine. We were doing it already. But whenever we're presenting, street improvements like this, we go through, we're talking about community engagement and the other and Olympic, we go through a community engagement process. So what we wanted to do is actually have a community meeting there on site. Caesar, his staff had coordinated, not only his staff, police, fire. We were gonna do a community meeting in their neighborhood and we sent them a notice as a courtesy to inform them And as you can see on the attachments, for full transparency, overwhelmingly, the residents opposed the plan, right? Which is unfortunate because we didn't get a chance to actually kind of talk them through it. If you look at the net results that would have been done, it would have created seven additional parking spots with the design that they did. Now, in response, they did, they have their community committee, I guess, and in response, they are asking for parking tees. Now, we're here because the structure of our city is the traffic commission is the one that makes the decision whether or not you believe the parking tees are in the best interest of this community or not. You're hearing the Caesar, who's been doing this for 30 years plus, who's an engineer. I trust him as well. The parking tees may not help the situation. They may actually exacerbate the situation and limit parking further, right? So that's something that the commission needs to consider. Parking permits are another option that's done to our planning department. So that's something that the neighborhood needs to go ahead and submit that application. So we're happy to work with them if they go ahead and work through that process. But similarly, they're going to have to get a certain amount of signatures to get it approved. So, but that's the process that they need to follow if they wanted to do a parking district there, which is an option for them, right? But that's a challenge right now. That's the responsibility of the commission right now to debate or consider whether or not the parking tees are the best solution for them, or maybe not, or maybe you also have the option of rejecting the recommendation and having them go through a parking permit process, but they would need to submit that. That's not something that we do for them.
I just wanted to include one more thing. If you look at that attachment where the design is, it is correct that currently there's 64 spaces, so that would increase 6. However, if you look at the middle one, 51 spaces are technically legal in that area. So in the areas where there is an 8-foot area between two driveway approaches, technically I would have red curbed that, which means technically we have 20 plus legal parking spaces, right? And so, I mean, at this point in time, obviously, we're not making a recommendation to do that. However, I just want the commissioners to be cognizant about that. And as you've had last time also, we had the last commission meeting, we had the reiteration of the Senate bill that just passed where we're required to paint 20 feet of red curb at the intersections, correct? Mr. Matt Ramos from Community Development gave you that same presentation. So I can't reiterate that. Again, 20 plus spaces would be gained if we legally did things the right way. In this case, however, I don't think there's going to be much if we just do parking tees. It's not going to really technically help the situation. Most likely, they're going to come back and not be happy because now they can't park. And then also, either park enforcement or the police department, they'll issue a citation at the discretion if you're overhanging that parking tee.
Me, myself, I think the T, you're gonna lose parking no matter what with the T. The other we had gained parking, Naomi. We had gained parking, even though we painted that red between the driveways. It was as good because you had a way to go in and out. I think this T for myself, I really don't like it. I'm still gonna see residents get tickets because they're gonna be out of that T. They're gonna outstand the T. The T, nobody really parks in the T, tell you the truth, even now. So myself, I'm gonna go against the T, I'll tell you the truth. I can make a motion or any other comment on that?
Yeah, for me, right, it's wonderful they have their committee, but I always think I always think of the percentage of the population that actually voted, because I know that the ballot was done via paper and versus having different multiple forms. Like, because sometimes people are so busy that you just I live in the digital world. If you send me something electronically, I'll get it done and just text people, hey, get it done, versus you trying to, give me, and I don't even have stamps either And if you didn't give me a stamp, I might not send you the survey back. So it might be just a small sample being represented and not everyone's voice. And also, that the residents, they need to see the plan because there are pros in terms of gaining those 7 parking spaces, which will support everyone in that particular area. Just looking at it from that holistic perspective, because there's just so many, we are so much more innovative with our tools in terms of how we gather data nowadays. And I know our city does that. Like, we're putting all surveys on and we get responses, a lot more responses we're getting from residents when we do like a Google form or some type of monkey survey, some type of digital format as well. So I'm just wondering about those things, but I do see the benefits for the residents because we know the area. I mean, it's our city and we know the impact it has on other residents. And thank you for creating this plan.
Any other comments?
I have a comment. My comment is just this. It's very sad for me to see that only a certain amount of people, if somebody was doing something in my area, I would want to participate. And I think you've given them enough time to participate. And like I said, safety comes first. And so whatever is the safest way, I feel that that's the way we should go.
Yeah, and if I may add, Commissioner, as well, I know that the due date today is August 25th. They have this small sample of data, but it's not due till September 18 as well. So I'm just wondering if I would love to hear all the different voices
Well,
as well.
he was mentioning that there was a offer of a community meeting.
Yes, is that
I mean,
possible? Can we have
yeah.
another one?
There was a meeting offered, and they rejected it.
Yeah, they rejected it, correct.
Because, yeah, there was a meeting a
Okay.
while back.
So then-
And they need to come out.
Well, is it
That's
anything
part of
that we
them.
can revisit? Because I think if they're given additional options and also the option to do it digitally, it may be different. You may get a different turnout. And I think I'm familiar with the street. And I think the loss of parking would be atrocious.
Devastating.
Yes,
Mhm.
it would be terrible. As someone who lives in a community or in a neighborhood where there are apartments, it's a nuisance because I am a homeowner and I have my parking, but if I have a guest over, if my parents come over, where do they park? But what's really infuriating is that apartments are supposed to have adequate parking for their residents. Why don't they use it? So we are enabling them by allowing them to park there for free, taking up the homeowners' parking spots. It's a matter of contention. People are very upset, at least in my neighborhood. So that's why I was asking how many single residences are within this neighborhood along with these apartments, because I see that it can be rather unfair. People who have homes there and have 1 or 2 cars for their families compared to people who are in apartments who may have 5 people living there. That's 5 vehicles. And again, they're supposed to have adequate parking at their own residences. So I think if the public, perhaps if they're addressed differently, if they're offered additional options to vote, another opportunity to discuss it, see what other things we can discuss, maybe the turnout would be better. I'm not willing to just say, well, they have their chance. People are worthy of an
I get that, but I would go with Maria's idea then about the permit parking because.
I think a permitted parking is much better. So I would say no to the T parking.
Understood. And just to clarify, and unfortunately, we're limited in how we can do outreach. The notices were sent to all the property owners. As our city, that's the the amount of information. I wish we lived in a world where we had contact information, phones, emails for everybody. We don't. We legally, we have to notice each of the property owners. So, and it's actually the responsibility to them notice if they have tenants, apartment, those folks to kind of let them know what any changes that happen. So yeah, it's unfortunately, that's kind of like the challenge that we had there. But yeah, as was mentioned, we had planned a community meeting, and they overwhelmingly told us that they didn't want to do. What we don't want to do is force something on that they definitely don't want, right? So I think when you mentioned reassessing, I think this is our attempt to reassess. They've asked for parking tees. We're considering it, but as a city, as staff, we have to give you both the pros and the cons, right? As an engineer, Caesar's kind of telling you the challenges of doing parking tees, right? And so that's what you're considering now. Hopefully, in the future they might be open to something else. But the item before you is the parking tees, and then we're happy to reiterate that they want to apply for a parking district. That's something that they've already been given that information, but we can resubmit that information to them if they want to apply for that.
I put a motion to go against the T parking.
I'll second.
We have a motion to reject the installation of the parking tees by Chair Bayes, seconded by Vice Chair Knox. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner Olguin?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Knox?
Yes.
Chair Bayes?
Yes.
The motion passes. This item has been rejected.
We'll move to the next one. Item 4.
Item 5.
Or item 5? Oh, item 5, I'm sorry. It's the 138 North Street, red curb tips and blue curb application.
Thank you, Chair. With this item, Mr. Dennis Farms, traffic engineer, will now present this.
Thank you, Director, and good evening, Commissioners. I want to start off with repeating the recommendation in the staff report, and that's to approve the city traffic engineer's recommendation to deny the request for the installation of a blue curb for disabled parking, but approve 2 feet of red curb tipping on each side of the driveway at 138 North 18th Street, as shown in Figure 4. The fiscal impact, it was listed as not applicable because it was just their city's normal maintenance budget to accommodate the recommendation. Background information, the resident submitted the appropriate staff material that was required of him. I won't go through everyone, but you have to be a resident or be a member related to the resident, the owner of the property. They presented all the necessary information in their application. Montebello's policy has a garage specification requirement as well as a driveway specification requirement. And I'm also interjected the repeat of the Director of Public Works is authorized to, or his designated representative to install red curb throughout the city as required. With that information in general, I'll go into the existing conditions. Figure 1 gives you an overview in the report of the location. In particular, I emphasize the driveway width there is 14.61 feet wide, which is greater than the city's policy of 14 feet. Provide another aerial view to give you an overview as where it's located. Figure 3 gives you a street view looking at it. As you can see, he has a garage and he also has a wide driveway there. Moving on into the analysis, following the guidelines as such, intent of the policy is not just to approve every request for a blue curb, but following the guidelines, it was determined, the traffic engineer determined that a blue curb is not warranted at this particular location because their as showed in Figure 1, the driveway is greater than 14 feet. They do have off-street parking, they do have a garage. And the driveway, if you look in figure 4, it is wide enough for a person to approach the vehicle and have access to it if you're in a wheelchair or another device that you need access to the car. However, looking at it and the driveway in regards to the red curb request, they requested 4 feet, which I consider a little bit excessive. I understand the concerns about the garbage cans. They addressed the commission earlier this evening in the public speaking portion. But typically in terms of red tipping, 2 feet is a pretty standard application of that. And so the recommendation was made to install red curb 2 feet on each side of the driveway, referred to as red tipping. And that was the recommendation as presented in the staff report: deny the blue curb, but approve 2 feet of red curb on either side of the driveway. With that, now I will answer any questions the commission may have.
Any questions?
No, not for me.
I'll make a motion with the red chips and to approve that part. To approve the red chips and deny the blue curve, the blue handicap thing. So that's my recommendation. Oh, yeah.
So to clarify, you're recommending to approve the recommendation by staff, right? Which is deny the blue curve and approve the red tipping for 2 feet.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion.
I second.
We have a motion to approve the 2 feet of red curb tipping and reject the parking, the blue space parking at this location by Commissioner Takayama, seconded by Vice Chair Knox. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner Olguin?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Knox?
Yes.
Chair Baez?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, the next one. The one on the green curve on 140 South Fifth Street. It's item 6. Recommendation.
Thank you very much, Chair. This item will be presented by Mr. Dennis Barnes, Traffic Engineer.
Thank you, Director and the Commissioners. I'll start again by repeating the recommendation in the staff report is to approve the City Traffic Engineer's recommendation to approve the request for installation of 30 feet of green curb in a modified R32F 20-minute parking sign on a Telspar post at the location of 140 South Fifth Street, as shown in figures 3 and 4 of the report. The fiscal impact is estimated that the post and the sign would cost approximately $350. It'll be taken out of the city's maintenance budget. There are adequate funds at this time to accommodate the cost. Background information, the request was received by city staff at 140 South Fifth Street for installation of green curb. The ownership of the store changed, and so the new owner elected to come in and make it official to request the green curb. Per the city's municipal code, I've interjected in page 1 of the report the authority where the Director of Public Works has the authority or his designated rep to approve such recommendations. After staff makes a report, makes a recommendation, it's approved by the commission, then it can go forward. In terms of existing conditions, I presented in the report, figure 1 gives you an aerial view so you can see where it's located, and then figure 2 gives you a street view. Figure 2 shows that there is existing green curbs a little bit faded out at this time. In terms of the analysis, The request is legitimate. We review them on a case-by-case basis. With the market, there's a turnover. For the city's code, the green zone has a 20-minute turnover time. That's pretty standard. It can be changed, but it has to be approved by the commission and approved by city council in the event that it was a different time period was requested. The conclusion of the traffic engineer was it was a legitimate request, and so in figure 3 of the report, it shows you approximately where the sign would go on a we call Telspar post, which is, you may have seen, it's like a square post with, you got holes in it, and it's installed in the concrete curb. And then on top of that, a sign is necessary to comply with the city's code. And the code that, or the sign that's used in the city of Montebello is on page 4 of your report. I have a picture there, 20-minute parking, and it's defined per the code from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And except holidays there and Sundays and holidays as noted. So with that, I concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission may have relative to the recommendation.
I lived in the neighborhood in 40 years right there, where you're talking about. I know that store. I know about how many, I should know, yeah. You know, do I shop there? No. I know the store very good, very well, I should say. The green curve is good, the time's good. I just want to make sure that it's posted for the hours that they can park there, you know, between green curve. So I approve this, what is it?
Just for the record, Chair, it's Mr. Barnes noted, so on page 4 of the staff report, it's figure 4, because I was thinking as you were speaking that, yeah, there is going to be signage, and it says right there, it's 20-minute parking, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. during the weekdays, so after 6 p.m., if you're a resident in the neighborhood, you can technically park there, and then Sundays, and this doesn't apply on Sundays and holidays.
Right. I'd just like to interject also, they will stencil the 20 minutes on top of the curb in 2 places, so that if you get out of your car, you miss the sign, you'll see it on top of the green curb there, 20 minutes.
Any other questions?
No.
I got a motion to pass the, item 6.
I second it.
We have a motion to approve this item by Chair Bayes, seconded by Commissioner Takayama. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner Olguin?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Knox?
Yes.
Chair Bayes?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, go to item 7. We have, that's on via North Avenue Blue Procure application. Recommendations?
Thank you once again, Chair. Mr. Dennis Barnes, traffic engineer, will provide you with an update on this request.
All right, thank you, Director, Commissioners. I'll start off with the recommendation in the report is to approve the city traffic engineer's recommendation to deny the request for the installation of a disabled parking space at 449 via Norte Avenue, no fiscal impact. Background information, and the request came in to city staff. The applicant submitted all the appropriate information as required by our form, the placard, the ID, validation that they live within the city, and so forth. On page 2 of the report, I've repeated like the earlier report, the garage specifications. That's pretty much what when I look at when we evaluate each request. Also the driveway specs in there in terms of how wide is the driveway and so forth. Do they own a passenger vehicle or do they own a lift van, which requires a wider space to access the vehicle? Existing conditions, Figure 1 gives you the aerial view as where it's located. Single-family home. Figure 2 gives you a street view looking west of the site, the driveway and so forth. The driveway is wide enough to accommodate, it's greater than the 14 feet per the policy as such. So that was another consideration, that this particular residence has, the driveway is wide enough to accommodate access to the vehicle. So it negated really the need to have an on-street blue curb parking space. And with that in mind, I went on to the conclusion was to deny the request for the blue curb. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I would like to make a comment.
Yes.
In particular, I believe there was a comment made on this advocating for the approval and not the denial based on the person, the resident having Alzheimer's. Unfortunately for me, I'm very familiar with that as I lost my mom to Alzheimer's 2 months ago. So I know the difficulties on parking if you have a caregiver coming over to care for your loved one. So based on that and knowing how difficult it is dealing with a person with Alzheimer's, and if parking is limited and if there's a need, I am inclined to advocate for it, to reconsider, to approve it, just based on my own personal experience. I will advocate to go ahead and approve it.
Yes, and the commission, as I've stated in earlier meetings, the commissioners have a right to, I make a recommendation to the commission, but collectively, the commission has a right to, if they disagree, to come up with their own recommendation and override what I'm recommending. Yes.
I really appreciate all the studies that you guys do, and I respect the recommendations that you guys make. It's just for me in this case, because I am very familiar with the issue that the relatives deal with. That's mainly the reason why I would love to make a different recommendation.
You're advocating approval of the blue curb
Correct.
request, yes.
Correct.
I could see that because you have a caretaker come. You have to have parking for them to come in. The caretaker is a big part of their lives. So I'll go on the same as the vice chair, which has just said.
My comment follows the same because it's difficult when there's not a parking spot right in front, and to have the mobility to get in and out. So, yes.
So
Yes, ma'am.
I will motion to approve.
I will second it.
We have a motion to install the blue curb at this location by Vice Chair Knox, seconded by Commissioner Takayama. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner Olguin?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Knox?
Yes.
Chair Baez?
Yes.
The motion passes. The blue curb will be installed at this location.
Thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
We'll go item 8. It's another, we'll go with it's a blue curb application. We have recommendation.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. Once again, Mr. Dennis Barnes, traffic engineer, will provide you with additional information with regards to the blue card application.
Thank you, Director. Again, I'll start off with the recommendation is to approve the city traffic engineer's recommendation to deny the request for the installation of a disabled parking space at 847 West of Shire Road. No fiscal impact. Background information, like in the prior report, the resident submitted all the appropriate information to the city. repeated on page 2 of the report, it repeats the garage spec and the driveway spec. The existing conditions, I provided an aerial view of the location, figure 1. And then on page 3 of the report, I give you a street view looking at the residence. You can see a wide driveway there, figure 2. In figure 3, I provided an aerial view of approximately, to give you an idea that it's like approximately 16 feet wide. So again, it's greater than the driveway spec of 14 feet. With that information, proceeded to evaluate the request. There's adequate space in that wide driveway to accommodate access to a vehicle if it were parked in the driveway. I had another picture, I didn't include that one, but it shows 2 vehicles parked in the driveway. There's room for someone to access the vehicle and have access. With that in mind, on the last page of the report, since there's adequate space, the width of 16 feet is greater than the 14 in the policy. The recommendation was made to deny the blue curb request. And the other consideration I mentioned on page 4 of the report, that the space in front of the residence is a little bit tight there. The space for ADA space in California, the minimum length is 18 feet minimum. It can be greater than that. Some agencies use 20 or more feet, but the minimum is 18 by state law. So that allows a room for a vehicle to get in and out. So this one would be real tight with available space. And with that, I would open it up for any questions that the commissioners may have.
I just have a comment. If there is enough room for 2 vehicles in the driveway and you had seen that, yes, I deny it.
Also, I said the same thing. That's 16 feet instead of the 14. That's even more than accurate. I mean, I could put 3 cars there with no problem. So I like to deny it myself.
I agree with that.
I make a motion to deny the blue curb.
I second that motion.
We have a motion to deny the blue curb installation at this location by Commissioner Takayama, seconded by Commissioner Hernandez. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner Olguin?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Knox?
Yes.
Chair Reyes?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Item 9. It's on Bradshaw Street, speed bumps.
Thank you once again, Chair. So several months back, I came in with a request for Bradshaw Street. We installed speed humps as part of an existing paving project. And then the commissioners requested that we come back with data to reinforce the effectiveness of these speed humps. And with that, Mr. Dennis Barnes, traffic engineer, will provide you with additional information.
Thank you, Director. I'll start off with the recommendation in the report is to approve the city traffic engineer's recommendation to receive and file this report on how effective the speed humps were on Bradshaw Street from Via Campo to Dewar Avenue. No fiscal impact at this time with the report. Background information, the director has indicated that the request came in, they were speeding on that particular street. Speed humps, city staff, management took an initiative, the speed humps were installed on the street. The question when it was discussed at the prior commission meeting was to bring it back, do a study to see how effective were those humps. Did they do the job? What were the results? On page 2 of the report, I repeated some of the information that goes into when we evaluate a speed hump installation request. Typically, there's a petition is filed requesting 60% of the people and so forth, a certain length of the street, quarter mile, 25 miles an hour street. The existing conditions, I requested a subconsultant to go out and do traffic volume counts and speed profile counts on Bradshaw Street to make the evaluation to see were they effective or not. As an attachment to your report, it's listed in the back as there's a graphic provided where the red bars show where the speed humps were installed. And then where should we take counts to evaluate it? So the yellow bars on that particular graphic is where I requested that the traffic count firm do their counts and speed survey for the speeds. With that information, the data came in and I looked at the results. In terms of each one of those yellow locations, the speeds came in the 85th percentile. I repeated by definition because when we're setting speed limits, traffic engineers like to look at the 85th percentile, where how many people are driving at that particular threshold. There's guidelines in the Caltrans state documents, and I won't go into it now, but the 85th percentile is like a guide for traffic engineers to look at. The results came in that at each one of those yellow locations in the graphic, the speeding was only 3 miles above the posted speed of 25. That means that the cars were traveling like 28, 29 miles an hour. So the speed humps were effective in slowing down traffic on that particular street. And then my conclusion was that the speed humps were effective, and the recommendation was made to file this report, put it in the records and files as a document that confirms that funds were expended, but the results were very effective in reducing speeds on that particular street, like a traffic calming measure. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Any questions or comments? No? I have a question.
Yeah.
You said that it helped by 3 miles from 25 to 28?
Right, 20-something, if you look in the results in your report in the back end, you'll see some on the bottom of the report, some a little bit higher than that. But so the 25 is the posted, prima facie for that residential street. And so we look at speeding. If we were starting all over again and we collected data, there was a speeding problem, we'd look for violations in 7 or 8 miles above the 25. So when people request a speed hump study, we're looking for violations 8, 9, 10 miles above 25. And so now the humps were installed and the results show that traffic is only going 3 miles above the 25 posted. So we're within the realm of being effective.
No, not for me.
So, you need a recommendation on this, right? That we approve this?
Receive and file.
To file.
Okay. Okay. I motion to approve the receive file to file.
I second.
We have a motion to receive and file this item by Chair Bayas, seconded by Vice Chair Knox. I will now commence roll call. Commissioner Takayama?
Yes.
Commissioner Olguin?
Yes.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Knox?
Yes.
Chair Bayas?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Do we have any, we'll go to our commissioner orals? Do we have any?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so today I would like to talk about the railroad crossing on South Vale Street. It has not been properly functioning, resulting in wait periods between 5 to 10 minutes, causing drivers to dangerously drive through the lower railroad arms. It was also posted several times on social media. I feel for their, safety. I know many officers came out to kind of address the issue, but I don't know what can be done with that because it's dangerous and someone's going to end up getting really hurt.
Commissioner, thank you for bringing this to our attention. We're happy to report it to the railroad. Just for reference for the commissioners and general public, the railroads, they're independent of the city. And by most instances, the railroads were here before even our country was founded. So we have very limited ability to compel them, but we definitely try to work with them. If there are any issues with the railroads, if you call our PD or fire, we usually try to come out, but unfortunately, we can't intervene beyond that. But thank you for letting us know. We'll let them know. Hopefully, they can fix it as soon as possible.
Yes, noted.
I noticed something today. I know it was brought up to last meeting. I didn't get to call it in because of an oral. Okay, they were back and said, I think it was last month, we had that, they came to us, they're gonna close up Olympics from 7th Street and just had the telescope, that one up 4th Street. I found out today, I saw 2 trucks, they were stuck between each other. It's really like going, they got to the corner, one's gonna have to make a right to Los Angeles Street, so the other one go straight, the other one go down. It's too jammed up there, because you have the parking on both sides. And here you wanna have those semis go through there. And these are 2 big ones, they were no small ones, there was one that had dually. It really tripped me out, I see dually coming on 4th Street. I live right there. I looked at this, I came on, I could say, this is gonna be a problem now. Because people are trying to get home, you can't because you have 2 trucks coming up each same, one going up, one coming north, one going south. What are we supposed to do? How are we gonna be able to clear that up? Clean it up, I should say.
Sure.
How are they gonna be able to hold us? Those trucks are coming up and down at the same time.
Okay.
I mean, I just worry about there's kids, there's mainly the residents that live there. You have the school right there, that's where people, they need the bus right there. And really I was shocked today when I saw the 2, they're like this, I'm sitting back going, who's gonna go first? Well, one of them did make a right-hand turn on Los Angeles Street. I thought from the street, where's he gonna go to Bluff? That dude's not gonna make a right turn or a left turn on Bluff. It's rough turn to begin with. And I don't know how we're gonna be able to fix that, but I wish someone would look into that and get it to the real people the day they came.
Yes, sir. I think you're referring to the changes we made as part of the underpass project on the
Right.
closures and rerouting. So yeah, thank you for letting us know. Let me, Cesar and I will talk to staff to kind of have a little bit more enforcement and monitor and to see how we can prevent that issue. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. That's it, and would like to adjourn the meeting. It's at 7:34.